When I first looked at the new iPhone 15, I was a little surprised just how much transferred over from the iPhone 14 Pro, including the new design and the excellent 48 megapixel camera sensor. And also, there were some pleasant new changes that were made to this phone that really did make it feel like a new iPhone and not just a dumbed down iPhone 14 Pro. And that kind of led me to a question, because I had such a great experience with this iPhone 15, it kind of made me wonder, did I overpay for my iPhone 15 Pro? Because both of these phones are really, really good, but going into 2024, it might surprise you to know that there's actually more key differences now than when this phone first launched. So I wanted to take a look at the iPhone 15 versus the iPhone 15 Pro in 2024 and let you know which one should you get. And are there any must-have features really on this Pro model that might make me upset using a regular 15 model? Well, one thing I'm not upset with is that both the iPhone 15 and 15 Pro use USB-C, but what I am upset with is that Apple doesn't include a charger in the box, and even when they do, their chargers are kind of lackluster. Thankfully, our friends at Ugreen sent over their new lineup of Nexo chargers, and look at how small Ugreen's Nexo Pro Mini is. It fits in the palm of my hands, but don't let this small size fool you. This thing is packing power. It has 65 watts with Ugreen's GaN Infinity technology, and it can charge an M2 MacBook Air from 0% to 51% in just 30 minutes. I also love this flatter design, which is Ugreen's Nexo Pro Cookie. It features the same ports and the same wattage as the Mini, but with a super flat design that can slip into your pocket on the go and presses up flat against a wall outlet, and this thing is just crazy thin. Even Ugreen's Nexo Pro 100-watt charger is smaller than Apple's 97-watt power brick, and it features more ports on it as well. Even Ugreen's powerhouse 160-watt Nexo Pro charger is still smaller than the 97-watt Apple charger, and it features 4 ports that can fast charge my 16-inch MacBook Pro from 0% to 50% in just 27 minutes, and it can charge my MacBook Pro, 2 phones, and my Steam Deck all with one charger. To pick up one of these small but powerful chargers, click the link in the description below, and thank you to Ugreen for sponsoring this video. Now, one thing Apple got absolutely right with this phone is the design. It looks exactly like the iPhone 14 Pro, and that pretty much looks exactly the same as the iPhone 15 Pro. And in some ways, this actually has better design elements that actually make me envious when I'm using my 15 Pro. First of all, colors. I know Apple gets a lot of flack for the color choices on this year's lineup, and yeah, a lot of these colors are kind of desaturated, but the color-infused glass on the iPhone 15 lineup looks a lot more vibrant and playful than the shades of gray you get on the 15 Pro. It may not show off well in videos or pictures, but pick this thing up at the Apple Store, view the phone at all different angles, just pay attention to that color-infused glass, which is a new design element on the iPhone 15, and you will really appreciate just how sleek and clean this design looks. I'm also so glad the glossy glass backs are gone on the regular iPhone models. The matte glass feels so soft to the touch, so good in the hands, and I'm just so happy that's on the regular models now. And despite Apple using titanium on the 15 Pro to get these phones lower in weight, after all that advanced engineering, the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus are still lighter than the Pro phones, and I consider that a huge plus. Death to heavy phones and all that, right? I also don't miss out on many of the other design features that the 15 Pro has. The regular 15 has the most important design elements now, like the dynamic island, which I use all the time for playing and pausing music, or viewing updates on my flight status, and stalking my Uber Eats driver as they slowly creep up to my house with my order of Chipotle, a double chicken burrito bowl, white rice, black beans, fajita veggies, no cheese, salsa verde. Try it out. I'm hungry. The displays are also exactly the same OLED panels with the same brightness ratings, and both look fantastic. The one big downside for the regular 15 is that it is lacking the 120 Hz ProMotion refresh rate, and while this may be a big deal for a lot of former Pro iPhone users and Android users, I think the vast majority of iPhone users simply don't care, or simply don't even notice that there is a faster refresh rate on the 15 Pro. Call me an idiot all you want, attack my tech credentials in the comments below, but if you give me an iPhone 15 Pro, I obviously notice the faster refresh rate. I'm not saying it isn't there, it clearly is, and yeah, I do like having the faster 120 Hz refresh rate, but the brain It's a weird thing because after a week of using the iPhone 15 Pro, I stopped noticing how fast the refresh rate is, and it feels normal to me. It's like the new normal. You kind of stop appreciating the faster refresh rate. For me, this is really different than a lot of other display technologies. I remember the first time I used a high-resolution iPhone and compared it to an old iPhone, and on the old iPhone, you could see pixels on the display, and it made things like text look really janky. So when I got a higher resolution Retina display when I upgraded to the iPhone 5S, I immediately noticed just how big of a jump this was in display technology. That jump was so big that it ruined low-resolution displays for me, and on refresh rates, I cannot go back to a non-Retina display after using one. It is visually obvious to me throughout my experience. So while high refresh rate is nice for me, I do appreciate it, I have to be honest, it is something I can live without. Then there's other new changes that actually occurred this year with the 15 Pro, where it kind of has this new action button on the side so you can map it to quick commands. And yeah, I kind of mapped it to the camera so I could quickly open the camera whenever I needed to, but I kind of think that, at least on the Pro Max that I use, the button's kind of placed a little too high for me to constantly hit it all the time. And there's just also a lot of other camera shortcuts that you can use natively on the phone. But honestly, I mostly just open up my phone and just hit the camera app. I'm just so used to that kind of muscle memory at this point that it really makes it hard for me to use the action button. And even though this is a feature I was looking forward to, it was something I was excited about and thought I would be using all the time, I kind of haven't been, and I think a lot of other users have been experiencing that as well. The iPhone 15's reliable mute switch may be old, but yeah, it's been with us since the conception of the iPhone. It's hardwired into my brain at this point that this is a feature on the iPhone, and even though I use my iPhone on mute most of the time, I still do kind of enjoy having a physical mute switch on the phone. I think in a lot of ways, the best of both worlds would to kind of bring that back on the iPhone 15 Pro, maybe put the mute switch on the other side on the top and then give us both options, because I kind of miss not having that switch. And a lot of the hyped up changes to the 15 Pro kind of had me wondering, at this point, am I overpaying for the iPhone if I'm not using a lot of these features? Because in a lot of ways, honestly, the experience felt very similar. But then I ran into something that started to change my mind about the value proposition of the 15 Pro that I didn't expect to be talking about for a follow-up review, and that is performance. This is the second year that Apple has failed to put the most recent chip into the normal iPhone, and the normal iPhone basically gets stuck with an A16 chip from last year's iPhone 14 Pro, while the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max are the only new phones to technically get a new chip, the A17 Pro chip. I know it's a little confusing, but stick with me here. Now, when I talk about lack of performance, I don't mean the day-to-day activities we all do on our smartphones. iPhones for the last few generations feel about the same in day-to-day performance. Both of these iPhones are going to open apps quickly. They're both super fluid and smooth with their animations, minus this not having 120 Hz, and both phones have enough memory to keep apps open for a long time. Most users are never going to notice the difference between the A16 or the A17 chip because most users cannot take full advantage of the additional power the A17 Pro chip has, but it does have a distinct difference in one area that could potentially reach the mass market, and that is gaming. If you own an iPhone 15 or anything before that, not a Pro, go to the App Store and try and download a game called Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil 4 Remake. And you'll see that even on your brand new iPhone 15, the one that just launched 3 months ago, it is incapable of playing these games. That's because these games need the latest hardware with the advanced graphics on the iPhone 15 Pro's A17 Pro chip, which can actually handle hardware ray tracing on the chip, which is a requirement for these games because these are console-level games that literally just launched on systems like the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Now, yes, there are visual downgrades on the iPhone 15 Pro versions of these games, and there's a lot of over-sharpening, especially on the character models, but the fact that these games are even running on the iPhone 15 Pro is outstanding. Like, for example, a very popular gaming console right now is the Nintendo Switch. It's an older console, but it literally does not have the hardware power to run these games that are running on an iPhone. So the fact that these demanding games are running on something like the iPhone, which again, literally doesn't even have a fan in it, the Nintendo Switch does have a fan in it, is impressive. And it makes you wonder if the iPhone 15 Pro in, say, maybe the next 3 to 4 years, which is about the average length that people keep their smartphones for, might be able to fully compete in a mobile gaming market if more of these console level games come out on the phone. You might technically not need a dedicated handheld console to play a lot of these games anymore, and the iPhone might just be good enough for that. I don't know if it will, because to make the best of it, you do need some like third-party accessories like a gaming controller to really play these games. But I think the point remains is that the hardware on this is kind of extremely capable. I know this is kind of pie in the sky thinking. I know a lot of games aren't available on the 15 Pro yet. And yeah, for most people, they're not playing console caliber games on their iPhone. The majority of people play iOS mobile games. Those will still run on the regular iPhone 15. But as someone that is into gaming, this is one of the most impressive things to me. The iPhone 15 Pro has exclusive games for it that do run pretty well. And it's something that the iPhone 15 just isn't capable of. It cannot play those AAA level title games. So if you're interested in gaming, yeah, the 15 Pro has a really nice exclusive feature going for it. And exclusive features are something that maybe the iPhone 15 would be capable of doing in this next area. And that's the camera system. Now, don't get me wrong. The regular camera on the iPhone 15, it's outstanding. Like if you're using the main lens on the iPhone 15 and the main lens on the iPhone 15 Pro and you're taking side-by-side shots with the 48 megapixel camera system, I honestly don't think I could tell you which phone took which photo. They are both very, very similar, and both camera systems take fantastic photos. These are the best iPhone photos that they've ever looked, right? And for me and a lot of other reviewers, these are the best overall camera systems ever put into a phone. Now, yes, we all know the iPhone 15 Pro has some exclusive camera features, things like the 3x or 5x zoom lens just literally isn't on the regular iPhone 15. And I do miss not having that third zoom lens on my iPhone 15 when I'm using it, but it's not a deal breaker because for most instances, I still want to use the main wide-angle lens because those take the best photos. They get really crisp, by default, 24 megapixel shots, and you can still utilize the software 2x lens on the iPhone 15, which crops the 48 megapixel sensor to imitate a natural 2x zoom range. And hardware-wise, there's a couple other differences with the camera system on the 15 Pro, but that's kind of not what I miss about the 15 Pro's camera system, because technically what I miss on the 15 Pro's camera system should be possible on the normal iPhone 15, and that is the software. This phone is kind of software locked in photo and video features that the 15 Pro has. Now, normally I would boil this down to chip performance differences just like we saw in gaming, but the iPhone 15 is using the same A16 chip as the iPhone 14 Pro. And that iPhone 14 Pro has camera software features that aren't on the iPhone 15. Namely, the regular 15 does not get access to shooting ProRAW photos or ProRes video. And basically, what those modes allow you to do is to capture more data. They are less compressed versions. In the case of ProRAW, it might be the full pixel readout. But for ProRes video, it's basically less compressed video footage. And what you can do with that is take that into editing software, and you have a lot more information to work with. You can kind of stretch that video footage in more ways. You can, color it differently. You can, change the highlights, the shadows, all that stuff, right? You get a lot more control with it when you're editing these photos. And even in the case of like ProRAW photos, you actually get more resolution and detail out of it than the normal camera system. And as someone that makes YouTube videos, I kind of appreciate that, especially the ProRes log video that is on the iPhone 15 Pro model, which hands down has to be the best smartphone video footage that I have ever seen. It looks really good and just gives you so much more flexibility when working with iPhone footage. Now, yes, this is a niche feature. People like my mom, my dad, people in my family, and even close friends, people that are even really into tech, might not even touch this feature. Most of the time, when you're sharing photos or videos online anyway, it's getting compressed anyway. So in real-world usage scenarios, having access to higher fidelity video or higher fidelity photos, they're kind of unnecessary, and most users, I believe, probably wouldn't even make the sacrifice to use these features because they take up so much storage space. Again, these are larger, uncompressed file sizes. Like, I have the second highest storage tier, the 512 gigabyte iPhone 15 Pro Max, and I am already basically using up all my storage. I barely have enough space to shoot these ProRes videos if I don't start deleting stuff, and I have to resort to shooting off external drives, which, shout out to the iPhone 15 and 15 Pro for getting another handy feature, the USB-C port. We didn't talk about that, but yeah, they have USB-C ports. But, the 15 Pro has a faster one, so you can hook up external storage to it and shoot directly on there. Again, most users probably aren't going to connect external storage to their iPhones and start shooting video off it, right? Like, that's just not realistic to expect. But when you can utilize those features, when you're used to doing things like that already, you do miss out on having that feature on the regular iPhone 15. And that's kind of what I miss going to the iPhone 15. It's a lot of the software locked exclusivity features that should technically be possible on the regular 15. And for the most part, I would be fine using a regular iPhone 15 if it had these software features. So ultimately, even though most people probably wouldn't take advantage of these software features on the regular 15, I do believe Apple should give you at least the freedom of choice to make those choices if you want to use those features. With that being said, though, I think the iPhone 15 is still a great phone, right? It fixed a lot of problems with the regular iPhone 14. It was, that phone was lackluster. I did not recommend the iPhone 14. And with the new dynamic island design, the most important features like that new 48 megapixel camera system and USB-C, right? Like, it has the features that most users want and care about. And the only problem for the iPhone 15 is the pricing upgrade structure, because for $100 more, you can get an iPhone 15 Plus with a bigger 6.7-inch display and more battery life. But then you kind of look at that pricing ladder, right? You have $100 more and you can upgrade to the Pro model. But if you wanted that bigger display, well, I think this is where Apple's pricing ladder is a slippery slope or a slippery ladder. You know what I'm saying, right? Apple makes it very tempting and very easy to spend a couple $100s to get the more premium phone. But most people probably should just save that extra cash. Perhaps that's a video topic for another day, though. No. Hold on. I'm not going to make you wait here to answer the question, right? Is the iPhone 15 worth it? And are the upgrades on the iPhone 15 Pro really that important? Well, unlike last year, again, where I thought the iPhone 14 was a skip, the regular iPhone 15, it's a really good phone. I recommend it. And the upgrades to the iPhone 15 Pro really only apply to you if you really want those niche use case differences. If you don't care about the 120 hertz display, if you don't care about these exclusive console level games, if you don't care about these software locked camera features, well, then yeah, the regular iPhone 15 and 15 Plus are worth it. You should definitely save your money and get them instead of going for the Pro phones. But with that being said, after using both phones for 3 months, this is kind of one of the first years where the Pro phone feels like it really is getting exclusive Pro features that aren't designed for most users. But if you want those features, you'll be sad without them if you pick the regular 15. So if you really do want those features, the $200 or more upgrade to the iPhone 15 Pro is worth it. There's no winners or losers here between these phones. They are targeting 2 different audiences. All right, if you like this video, you know what to do. And if you want to see more, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because 2024 is going to be a very, very interesting year for tech and a very interesting year for Apple. So I'll see you in the next one.